the usage of the PROCA, or the Prevention of Crime Act 1959, is completely not acceptable. In fact, if you ask me, it is an illegal usage of the PROCA. It is tantamount, firstly, to detention without trial, because you're keeping a person up to 70 days. Its purpose was something else, which is to register persons and confine them to one particular area. Okay, and the government cannot use that because Restricted Residence Act was repealed, and this is in a way similar to that particular act. Now, very simple. The 14-day period given under the CPC is adequate for the police to carry out investigation and cut down the crime rate. They don't have to rely on PROCA and detaining people at random for up to 70 days. It's not necessary. So what we want is, we want to see the crime rate cut down, but we want them to use the existing laws, the CPC. 14 days is a long time to investigate. Why do you need 70 days?
Because it's also existing, it hasn't been repealed. So they're saying that they're using laws that are available to them.
Correct. The PROCA, you're right. The PROCA exists, it hasn't been repealed. But that doesn't mean that it is an appropriate or proper law to be used, number one. Number two, that doesn't mean that that law should not be repealed. It is a law that ought to be repealed, and ought to have been repealed a long time ago. Because we must follow the ordinary CPC provisions of 14-day remand, which is adequate for any kind of investigation. If you arrest the person, you investigate for 14 days, you don't find anything, you release him. Using the PROCA, if you ask me, is an attempt to punish people. They are punishing these people whom they are picking up and using the PROCA. And it is also, if you ask me, an attempt by the police, a big PR attempt by the police, to show that they are doing something about crime. And this is my biggest concern, When the police start engaging in PR attempts to make it seem to the public that they are doing something, the real criminals are not caught. The real fellows with the guns, where are they? Instead, you're just picking up every fellow with some small infraction and putting him under the PROCA. What's the basis for putting these people under the PROCA? We don't know. Everything is being done, and the numbers that they are arresting is serious. You cannot arrest 600 or 700 people over a weekend. That's what they've done. It's unprecedented. And yet there's no hue and cry. 683 people over a weekend. What does this mean? It means random arrests. 200 over under PROCA. What does that mean? It's abuse of power. So I would demand, for the sake of public safety, stop using the PROCA, use the Criminal Procedure Code, and instead of going around doing random arrests everywhere, use intelligence gathering, use good policing, find out where the people with the guns and those involved in recent shootings are, and arrest them. There's no need to go on some mass arrests.
Is PROCA, the use of PROCA in such a way, does it contradict what Prime Minister promised?
It does contradict with what Prime Minister promised, because of democratization, they repealed the Restricted Residence Act. PROCA does the same thing. So it's inconsistent. On the one hand, you agree restricted residence is antiquated, you do away. Then you bring out PROCA and you start using it. Then what was the point of repealing the Restricted Residence Act?